You doing, guys? Thanks very much for watching my videos. As you know, this is part 2 of what are some of the worst congregations that you attended. Because Jehovah's Witnesses congregations, they're like McDonald's, aren't they? You open the door and it's the same everywhere you go. You've got the book room for beating your kids, you've got the 2 toilets, you've got the little corridor, and you've got the big room, okay? If you're a posh congregation, you've got the book room has a glass window so you can see in the congregation. That might be a bit fancier. But the love's the same. Let's find out more, shall we? Because the love's always there, isn't it? The overseer clique in my congregation was based on financial success, unless you were grandfathered in. That's right, unless your daddy was an elder, it was probably going to be easier for you. In some ways, I had one of my good friends is no longer an elder, and his daughter would tell you, and I would tell you on her behalf, that she had a very, very hard upbringing, because she was expected to be perfect. And so not always was it that easy to be the child of an elder. Okay, anyway, then this person's saying there were 3 elders on my judicial committee. Ooh, what did you do? First was an old sweet dude who died a couple of years after all my troubles. Second one wore cowboy boots and hat while he drove his red Corvette everywhere. He owned his own business. That's not a very spiritual car. How's the elderly sister getting in the back of a red Corvette for the ministry? He had a McMansion. I'm living in a McMansion now. Oh, can't sell it. Actually, that's a lie. It's just sold. Did not make any money. Lost tons. I'm skint. Anyway, he had a McMansion and had his brothers and cousins as assistants. He came with his own posse. I like that. That was what happened to my hall for about 4 years. And it was a fucking nightmare. It was horrible. I've never seen another black dude dressed like that, except perhaps pimps in Texas. Once I tried to buy a crappy first car from him when I was 17, and he tried to make me his indentured servant to pay it off. But I didn't trust him back then because I knew how they treated poor families. That's wise of you. My dad got screwed over by an elder buying a car, and they never helped him. I've got a really good story about that, but it will be totally lifeless. I might do it in another series. Third was some kind of insurance salesman, apparently a good enough one to be in the clique. He had his own McMansion, and I was buddies with his son. When I came over for dinner, he would tell me to bring my own meat. Then he would show me what a real steak was and brag and talk down to me. My family was poor, then eat it with a smug look on his face and grease dripping down his chin. What a prick. I hope somebody sets fire to that grease dripping down his chin. Anyway, he and his wife were best friends with the elder and wife who studied with them and brought them into the truth. Oh, his wife got sick and was dying a year or so. He was screwing his best friend's elder's wife while his own wife was on her deathbed. Classy. That's what I love about Jehovah's Witnesses. Such classy people. She died without ever knowing. The new couple got this fellowship. The circuit overseer came in soon after and cleaned house. Here's the thing. Now, I know what you're going to say, Jehovah's Witnesses. You're going to say, but it was fixed. Jehovah fixed it. Why did he need to fix it if you are so good in the first place? I put that to you. Okay? Now that they're reinstated, he has no privilege as far as I know. On his elder body, yep, the elder friend. They've all forgiven each other or whatever. I only know through my mom, but I'm glad his holier than thy ass got some trouble too. Good for you. I'm pleased. Here's another one. I think this is a really good one. It's a long one, but it's worth doing. I just thought of another congregation from hell. I was still a ministerial servant when I gave my first away talk. The congregation was cold. I don't think cold physically. Hardly anybody spoke to us prior to the meeting, and after I finished my talk, there was sporadic applause. And following the meeting, only a handful of people spoke to us. We were taken to a restaurant by a brother who sat with us at a separate table. His wife didn't even sit with us, even though there was room for her. There were a couple of other families that also came to the restaurant with us, but they sat a good distance away. We felt such hostility that we quickly ate our meal and left. I wonder what's going on. Let's find out. Of course, I was devastated by the whole experience. I believed that either I've sucked with my presentation or the congregation was upset because I was just a ministerial servant. I later asked the talk coordinator if he had gotten any reviews from the congregation. He said the brothers in the hall said I did a good job. I then related how cold our treatment was while we were there, and he just laughed and said that congregation was special. A couple of years passed by. By that time, I had gotten on first name basis with the circuit overseer and his wife, and they dropped by all the time. One night, the circuit overseer came to our house with a completely pale face. He pulled me aside and told me that he had just finished the elders meeting with the congregation above. He was in tears. He told me that he had had to remove the entire body of elders and most of the ministerial servants. The reason? Racism. Evidently, the majority of servants wouldn't use non-whites for anything in the congregation. White witnesses wouldn't work out in service with black ones. Can you feel love tonight? Many of the congregations in the southern US didn't mix until the 70s or 80s. Apparently, a lot of people in this little town didn't appreciate the change, so the servant body just conspired to keep things separate. By the time that this circuit overseer started serving in the 90s, a lot of the non-white congregation members had started complaining about things. The circuit overseer investigated the situation and found out that the complaints were valid. I related my experience with the congregation, and the circuit overseer jokingly said I could relax. My talks didn't stink. The people in the congregation just had a problem with my colour. Isn't that nice? Many of the removed elders never overcame their prejudices and were never reappointed. For years I laughed whenever I saw something in the publications that talked about how Jehovah's people were supposed to be colourblind. You see, because I believed that. I believed that we were colourblind. And in fairness, where I lived in Northern Ireland at the time, there was like 3 black people in the whole country. So it wasn't very difficult to be colourblind because we were all the same colour. And I believed that when I read the magazines. I thought, oh, everyone else is racist, but not us. We're so awesome. And look at these southern states. They're so bad in places, and yet we shine above them like a beacon. Apparently not too shiny, that beacon, was it? It needed a good cleaning from time to time. And once again, Jehovah's Witnesses, if you're so good, why'd you do it in the first place? Oy, dear me. The more financially well-off cult members certainly do look down on the poorer ones, ain't that the truth? And there's no doubt whatsoever that the people enjoying privileges, elders, ministerial servants and pioneers, look at the average publishers with disdain. I know that for a fact because I serve on several elder bodies and I saw firsthand how many of the elders, and their wives especially, treated publishers like second-class citizens. I remember one elder who was used to regularly call people who weren't doing anything in the organisation publishers third class. But see, Jehovah's Witnesses love to be called a classless society, but if you actually look at their publications, there's about 315 classes. Oh, good God. The Greater Jonadab class, the 144,000, the Great Slave, the Little Slave, it just goes on. Oh, anyway, I'm getting digressed. Another one referred to non-servant family. It says Amharetz. Look this up in the Watchtower Bible and you will get, when you get a chance. Now, I didn't need to look at that because I know what it was, and it was an insult for people who were unschooled and did not know the Bible, okay? And that was what the Pharisees called the average person. So this was your viewpoint. When I was rocking around my Kingdom Hall, I thought the elders actually had, love for me and wanted the best for me, but I was simply a publisher third class and Amaret. That's what I was. During my 25 years as a Jehovah's Witness, I was the one for 25 too. I didn't see much racism, nor did I, in all fairness, except once I heard about it. There was a guy in my Kingdom Hall, right? And he stopped going after this. This is how embarrassing this was. They were talking about, he was doing a little magazine presentation on the stage. And I only heard about this happen about 2 months after I left. I wish I'd been there for it. It would have always been worth staying the 2 months. Anyway, so he was doing his thing. And somebody talked about, was trying to place with him magazines on the subject of evolution. And the witness said to him, the proposed public or door knocker, said to him, some people think we are all descended from monkeys. And he went, yeah, some of them black people look like monkeys, don't they? Oh, Davy Atkinson, you poor sod. I liked you. I used to go cycling with you. That was a big fuck up, mate. Anyway, I didn't see much racism, nor did I, other than that. I never saw class distinctions between well-off Jehovah's Witnesses and poorer ones, maybe because I'm from South Los Angeles and no one is well-off. But I did see class distinctions between the elite and the less elite. Here's the last one. A congregation I was in was run for the benefit of one family and their friends. Dad's elder later removed his elder for having a long affair with a sister that resulted in a child. Dear me. Children pioneered and were all examples to one another. They bragged about evading tax, and another started a race with a sibling to see who could make the most money. I used to think it was really funny, as I had stopped believing that they were allowed to get away with things that most so-called worldly people wouldn't even do. Dad is an elder again, and the whole family are wonderful busy on the circuit. Guys, this is Jehovah's Witnesses, okay? This is all how they'll always be. Hope you enjoyed this video, and if you're a poor Jehovah's Witness who stumbled on my apostate site, welcome. If you're a new person, welcome. Please like and subscribe. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.